Hello everybody and welcome back to round 15 of SNR. If you missed the last race in Singapore, I highly recommend you click the eye up in the top right and get yourself back there. It was a very intense race, very demanding circuit Singapore, and it did prove some very surprising results actually. So let's give you plenty of time to click off this video onto the other one before we go through the drivers and constructors standings. Now let's have a look at the drivers' standings. If you did see the last race, you will know that Darren Sinclair won the last race in Singapore, followed behind by Chelsea Boy. If you remember, Darren Sinclair made the one-stop work to his advantage and coasted across the line more than 20 seconds up. Couple of things to go over. Shug M had a 5-place grid penalty after the race for incidents occurring in Italy. And so he finished 9th in the last race, not 4th. So as we look at the driver standings then, Darren Sinclair 4 points clear of Chelsea Boy at the top, 206 versus 202. Third place, the Gort, 138. He is 68 points behind. So as we come into the latter parts of the season, it looks like a 2-horse race. But who can hold their nerve? Would it be Darren Sinclair in the Sauber, or would it be Chelsea Boy in the McLaren? Two cars you wouldn't normally see up at the top there, but you know, they're there, and as you can see, the Gort there in 3rd place, consistently on the podium for the last 4 races, 2 second places, 2 third places. He'll be trying to cement his place in 3rd as best of the rest. We have a look at the constructors' standings. As you can see, McLaren there on top, only by 7 points though. Sauber closely following behind, and Williams there, well, the drivers in 3rd and 4th. You're bound to see them high up the table there. 25 points off McLaren. They'll be hoping for a strong result today. And then you can see their Mercedes down there, 56 points behind. And then as best of the rest, Toro Rosso, 209 points behind. We do have a couple of things to go over before the race starts. So we have a couple of absences today. We should have 16 drivers, but ESP, Samba, Roccatoni and DK will not be joining tonight's session. Jensen has a 3-place grid penalty, which will be added to tonight's final standings. The Malaysian Grand Prix there, a lovely flow between high-speed corners, low-speed hairpins, and plenty of overtaking opportunities. Look down into turns 1 and 2 for the overtaking opportunity, as well as along the second DRS straight into the final hairpin. Those are your 2 main braking points there. And, well, in real life, the Malaysian Grand Prix in 2017 was the last race ever there. And I'm sure in this season we'll be going back to the Malaysian Grand Prix next season. I really do hope so. First race in 1999. And it has seen pretty much every era it can throw out. V10s, V8s, V6s, it's seen it all. It's very sad this, in real life, that the season has ended without the Malaysian Grand Prix going over. It is replaced by the French Grand Prix, which we'll be seeing in the next game. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, with Malaysia, the thing you've got to be careful of is the weather. It can monsoon rain at any point. But let's go to qualifying. And here it is after this edit. And what did I tell you? Qualifying here is being run in these drizzly light rain conditions. I said the intermediates don't exist, well that was a complete lie. But let's just get a screenshot for the video if we can of the Malaysian garage. So what are we looking for in this session? Well, Darren Sinclair, a Chelsea Boy to take pole, you might be thinking. Well, don't think too much of that. The Gort has shown consistency in this session. One to watch is Mr. Vink. Now, unfortunately, in Singapore, he did suffer from connection issues and meant that he retired from the race, and he was in 3rd place. So that's very, you know, it's just hard luck sometimes. That is a Mercedes at the start of the pit garage. That's going to be the first person out onto track, and we will see shortly who it is. Let's have currently fitted. It's W4 is going to be the first person out there. So let's ride on board and let's get an idea of what these conditions are like. tricky thing about Malaysia is well, I think W4 is in the menu, is he? He's ghosted right now. He might be in the menus, trying to sort something out. Toro Rosso behind him. Let's get all of this lap data up then, shall we? So you can see there, W4's got 5 laps of fuel. So the idea of qualifying here in these intermediate conditions is you load the car up with fuel because the intermediate tyres are pretty much consistent in performance as the Toro Rosso goes wide there. And oh, that's pretty close, especially on your outlap, guys. Keep it calm. What you want to do ideally is fuel the car up because the intermediate tyres do last a long time. As W4 goes slightly wide there, that won't do his tyres any good. Yeah, so you just keep going around the track lap after lap because the conditions either get better or the tyres get more used to the track, and that way you start to, in theory, set faster lap times. But you can see W4 here is really struggling with these conditions. Let's see if we can ride on board with Darren Sinclair. We can, and as you can see, Sinclair's got 7 laps of fuel. Now Mr. Vink has left the session, so I'm not quite sure if that's connection issues, but we'll have to wait and see. So that's Darren Sinclair. Second place in the championship, it's Chelsea Boy, and looks like Chelsea Boy is about to start a flying lap. You can see AJ to the P, new to the series, was in the reserves, has been promoted here as the absence of one of the drivers. You can see Geordie Davey back there, also a reserve driver. He's getting his chance again to maybe score some points this weekend. Let's wait and see. But they're second place in the championship, only 4 points behind. Nothing is solid yet, but you've got to feel like he's got to finish well. So no pressure there, Chelsea. I'm sure you can do a great job. Third place in the championship, the Gort. We're not quite sure what these guys are like in these intermediate conditions, but the Gort has been very consistent these last few weekends, especially the last 4 weekends. 4 weekends, 4 podiums. So he is amazingly consistent so far. Have yellow flags in sector 2, and that's a Ferrari off in the gravel trap there. Not quite sure who it was, but it's very difficult to find out who it was anyway. Sector 2 is yellow flags once again, and there could be traffic here for Chelsea Boy. And does the Toro Rosso? The Toro Rosso is off the track to get out of the way, so we'll see how that affects his lap time. Such a shame to see it dropped from the real life calendar. It is a great track. A couple of places for overtaking, but you know, you've got the DRS straights here as well. Watch that first complex, because if we've seen in the past in real life, it's a very tricky course to navigate those first few corners. But we're going to see Chelsea Boy. He won't be the first person to set a lap time, but we'll have a see now. W4, it says 1:47.5. Chelsea Boy, 1:46.3. So that's your time to beat there. As let's have a look at Darren Sinclair if we can. Here he comes towards the line. What's his lap time going to be? 1:47.2. But you'll have, I think Sinclair's going to go around for another lap, as is Chelsea Boy. And here's the thing about those intermediate conditions: you just keep putting laps around the circuit, and you eventually will get the lap time you need. You can see there, W4 is still in third place, Shug M in fourth, Invader Zippo fifth, Geordie Davey there in sixth. Good effort from him so far. The Gort in 7th, Heem Carl in 8th, North Star 9th, Jensen in 10th there, 1:54. Spark Bobster 2 minutes 40, so we can assume he was in the gravel trap earlier on. And we'll have a look here at Chelsea Boy. We'll have a look at W4, because he is the man on the... he's currently the... well, not the pace setter, that's the wrong word. He's currently the leader of the pack, so his lap times will come through first. It's not a bad lap there. Third place for W4. And hopefully... oh, as he runs wide there, that's a lap time aborted. Into the gravel trap he goes. And Chelsea Boy will take the lead of the pack. So can he improve on his lap time? see there, he's almost a second quicker than Darren Sinclair. That's incredible. As he rounds that last hairpin as he dives into the pits there. So that's a shame. We'll have a see if Darren Sinclair will complete his lap either. No, he's not. You can see there he's either aborted his lap or he's going to come into the pits. Well, which one will it be? He's going to go for another lap. Maximum attack there. Very risky to do in these intermediate conditions because the back end likes to step out on you sometimes. The way you can counteract that is on this game. It allows you to position the ballast where you like. You can actually have that towards the front of the car. We have Jensen here, who's retired from the session. Not quite sure what's gone on there. He might feel as if he's had enough for today. But that was Chelsea boy there, who was just caught up behind him. And we'll see if we can get a ride on board with Heffy. Why not? Heffy, the other McLaren teammate, currently hasn't set a lap yet, but is hoping that leaving it slightly later has meant that he gets a clearer track. But as you can see there, the Gort there in second place now. Must have missed that time come up. 4 tenths off, puts himself in second place. Nicely in between the championship leaders. Of course, mathematically, it's still possible. But the Gort just has to be consistent, as he has been these last few weekends, and see if he can cause some upsets along the way. That's his chance of clinching the title. As for, as you can see here, this is the lag I was talking about. We're just going to have to cope with that for this session, I'm afraid. Hopefully that won't be too much of a hindrance, but we will have to wait and see. As Heffy makes his way through the third sector now. Always tricky this section, especially in the wet, and this right-hander here where the braking is technically on the braking zone. Forget I said that. Where the braking there is as you're turning in as well, so it can be very easy to lock up the tyres there. Yellow flags in sector 3 as Geordie Davey is someone who's going to try out the dry tyres going on to the super soft, so we'll have a keen eye on his lap times, as we've got a Renault off in the background there. So let's see what Heffy can do. Puts himself 11th, but he will do another lap. AJ to the P, number 23. Can you rhyme anymore if that's all right? He's currently yet to set a lap time, so this will be his first lap. Reserve driver. But let's see what he can do this weekend. His teammate is Mr. Vink, who I'm not sure has rejoined the session just yet. So looks like Mr. Vink is going to start at the back of the grid if he is going to join. We shall wait and see. Yellow flags in sector 2. Not quite sure who that was, but Spark Bobster is out of the session. Let's have a ride on board, and it looks like he's just lost it there. North Star's retired as well. So that just looks like drivers not... Yeah, look at that, low fuel mode. So basically, North Star's run out of fuel and has decided that the best course of action is just to abandon the session altogether. Here is Bravo Wolf, who currently is in third place. So Darren Sinclair has got to find that time. And as you can see, he's doing a very good job of that. 8 tenths up so far. But he needs to finish off this lap, as he will get time for one more if he chooses to. It all depends on that traffic up ahead as well. As he rounds the final hairpin, Darren Sinclair, what's the lap time going to be? As this isn't a great camera angle. AJ to the P goes third place there, 6 tenths off. Darren Sinclair puts it on pole, 1:45.9. The Gort retires from the session. He feels he's had enough. As Chelsea boy, 3 tenths off now. It is getting close. The track's getting better. You can see that. So the Gort there retired from the session. AJ to the P in 4th. Bravo Wolf in 5th. W6 there in 6th. And Heffy's up to 7th. So he's bettered his lap time. Shug M in 8th. Rocket Queen 9th. Hinkard 10th. Invader Zeppo 11th. Geordie David 12th. Watatitium 13th. and then 14th North Star, 15th Jensen, Spark Bobster 16th, and Mr. Vink in 17th, who I don't think we will be seeing him today, so that is a shame. He was running in 3rd place at Singapore, but it looks like his connection issues continue to haunt him, as Chelsea Boy here looks like he will have a chance for another lap as well. W4 is retired from the session, assuming that he's made a mistake on that lap, so there's no point in him carrying on. Here comes Chelsea Boy. What can he do now? He won't go quicker, but he will have another opportunity. He's 3/10 off his best. AJ to the P here. Doing well. Currently 4th, 9/10 off. And we'll have a see what he can do as he comes up to the last hairpin. As the checkered flag comes out, so Shug M, Heemcar, Mr. Vink, all finished. Mr. Vink never got to sell a lap time. AJ to the P, comes towards the line and goes 3rd fastest. Darren Sinclair looking to come around that final hairpin and dives into the pits. So Chelsea Boy now has the chance. Can he grab pole? We're going to ride on board with him. As, he has to find 4/10 if he's going to find pole. Darren Sinclair has retired, we saw that. So he's now going to anxiously watch Chelsea Boy and see what lap times he's setting. He's 10th up in the 2nd sector. And as you can see, the rain has stopped, so the track is getting quicker. So Chelsea Boy has the advantage here of a drying track. So this could help his tyres to no end. As he rounds that right-hander, very difficult to find your braking point. And let's see if DRS is activated. It's not. So let's see as he comes into the final hairpin what sort of lap times he can produce. Rounds the final hairpin. On his way to the start-finish line. Can he grab pole? Can he get ahead of Darren Sinclair? No, he can't. He goes better, but cannot improve on his lap time. Well, he will secure 2nd. He is about 500ths up on his best, but not quite enough to there to get it on pole. So Darren Sinclair is your man on pole position. Chelsea Boy in 2nd. AJ to the P in 3rd place there. The Gort in 4th. Bravo Wolf in 5th. Invader Zippo 6th. W4 in 7th. Heffy in 8th. Sugar M in 9th. Rocket Queen 10th. Heem Carl 11th. Geordie Davey 12th. Watatitia in 13th. 14th is the North Star. Jensen in 15th. Spark Bobster in 16th place. And Mr. Vink, who did not set a lap time, is there in 17th place. But there it is. Darren Sinclair clinches pole by 3/10 of a second. And are there any penalties? No. So what you see there is how the drivers are going to start. So, what will the weather be like in the race? Will we have drivers opting for a wet setup? Will we have drivers opting for a dry setup? We shall have to wait and see. The Gort there in 4th. He'll have his work cut out. But we'll be joining the race after this edit. Don't go away. So here we are. The track looks dry. And we have about 20 seconds till the race start. Have a look for into turn 1. As Chelsea Boy will be looking to better that lap time. He's set in qualifying. Have a look as well for the Gort. He'll be looking to try and secure another podium this weekend. And watch out again for Shug M, who'll be looking to try and get into that top 10 once again and have another race as he did in Singapore. But enough of all of that now as we head to 5 red lights. Lights out and away we go. What are the starts like? As we see now, Geordie Davey at the back there. But you can see Darren Sinclair and Chelsea Boy. Darren Sinclair's going to keep that inside line. Meanwhile, the Williams there has locked up. But can he keep that position? And Chelsea Boy's going to have the inside line for the next corner. And can he pull away? Can he get the traction? He needs to. He's on the softer tyre there. But Darren Sinclair can hold his own as he makes his way through. and holds on to the lead for now. Looks clean as we head into the next corner, and Chelsea boy down the inside once again. He's putting pressure on Darren Sinclair. And of course, it's vital for Chelsea boy to try and get ahead. He is on the super soft tyres, Darren Sinclair on the soft tyres, so split strategy here. As Darren Sinclair now looks to try and open up the gap between him and the McLaren behind. Let's have a look at the UI now. AJ to the P is in third place there. Bravo Wolf in fourth. W4 in fifth. As we have a look now and see the tyre everybody has got. We can see there the Gort and Jensen. So what has happened to these two? And then the Gort is off. So the Gort might have something to do with Jensen here. As Jensen spins the car around, hits the rear end. And, well, I'm not sure what happened there, but the Gort has it all to do is he's got front wing damage as well, looking to try and go long into this race, and that's going to throw the spanner into the works now. Could that be his podium run over? We'll have to wait and see, but yeah, not ideal at all there for the Gort. He'll have to try and recover from that. Meanwhile, AJ to the P, look at this now. He is up into third place. Pressure from behind from Bravo Wolf as they head into the turn one here. AJ to the P is going to have that inside line, but if Bravo Wolf can hold his own, he's going to have the inside line for the right-hander, but he can't, and AJ to the P holds on once again. Let's have a look behind. Invader Zippo attacking Shug M here. Shug M up into sixth place, but obviously it's not over at all, not by a long shot. Invader Zippo thinks about it, but thinks better of it, as not going to fit through there. Heffy and the Gort into the pits now, so Heffy, not ideal for him. There's the lag spike. Very sorry about that. There's not a lot I can do, as hopefully we catch up to the action. Invader Zippo has a 3-second time penalty. Yeah, that's the jolts forward. Now we're back live, I promise. So let's have a look at the race leader, Darren Sinclair, under pressure from Chelsea boys. You can see the Gort there on the medium tyres. So change of strategy for the Gort. He's onto the medium tyres and he'll be looking to run as far as he can into this race. Yellow flags in sector 2. So not quite sure who that was. As is that Jensen once again? Yes, I believe it is. As we've got debris on the left-hand side there, as Heffy makes up a position as well. Hectic start, but the two championship leaders are head and toes. They are right behind each other, and as you can see in the background there, Shug M having to try and hold off Invader. Yes, that's Bravo Wolf there. So Shug M has made the move and is up into fourth place. So his next target is AJ to the P, 3 seconds down the road. Meanwhile, W4, they're in 7th place. He's done well so far, but he's just got to keep his cool. As we see Heemkal here, up into 9th place, consistently in the points. When he does score those points, again, here's the lag once again. Sometimes you just think this is just unwatchable, but maybe we'll have some edits. Maybe we could smooth that out slightly. Let's have a look at your championship leaders behind there as Shug M looks to try and get into 3rd place and has now. Bravo Wolf down the inside of AJ to the P. Can he hold his own? Round the outside, AJ to the P holds his own, and in pressure now behind from Invader Zippo as these guys are still battling. AJ to the P and Bravo Wolf switches up and tries to go down the inside, does make contact and has that compromised front wings there as Bravo Wolf does get DRS. AJ to the P though, round the outside, and he's actually side by side without any DRS at all. And Jensen is out of the race. Let's see if we can get on board with him now. Yes, we can. He's lost it and he's out of the race. He did have a 3-place grid penalty after this race, but but he is out of the race, made that mistake and is out of the race. Meanwhile, we jump back on board with Invader Zippo as he's trying to put the pressure on W4 now. And again, These cars are equal in performance, so Mercedes versus Haas is basically Mercedes versus Mercedes. Same spec, exactly the same, so it provides this close racing. Meanwhile, Walter Titian trying to close in on Hinkar on that Renault and try and score some points for Ferrari. So he will be hoping to get some points on the board, some solid points as well. As we look now, go back on board with Invader Zippo. Look at that, and Invader Zippo's off. He's been hit off, and he's out. Well, we just got on board with that, but that looked 3 wide as they come through the double right-hander, and 3 wide through there is simply not going to work. And Invader Zippo has, well, he's out of the race. It's simple as that. And it's just that over-eagerness, maybe, to try and make up those positions 3 wide through there is just not going to happen. And that's unfortunate for Invader Zippo. Looks strong. Now as we ride back on board with the race leader, Darren Sinclair. Chelsea Boys is there, still in DRS range. And these two are not going to give any quarter. Darren Sinclair finishes like this. He'll extend his championship lead, which is exactly what he wants to do. Let's have a look for other battles around the track. Shug M there in 3rd place on the podium as we look behind for AJ to the P and W4. And they are side by side now. This was the pack that Invader Zippo was involved in. So let's see. Let's keep a close eye on them. Let's see if there's any tussles going on. AJ to the P holds his own for now, but he'll have to watch out. W4 looks quick. Rocket Queen there, running wide. Not quite sure. Just missed out why he ran wide there, but he was closing in. Now Walter Titian trying to close in on the Renault. Now on the double right-hander, trying to get that apex line, and Hinkal just runs wide, and that's an easy position for Walter Titian there to make up. He's up into 7th place. AJ to the P, right behind W4. So W4 has made his way ahead, but AJ to the P's not going to have that, as we have a change for the leader. Chelsea Boy is now ahead of Darren Sinclair. So sorry I missed that. Sorry I missed that overtake. Just trying to get all the battles I can in. It's very difficult when it's only you working the camera and having to commentate on it as well. Not ideal, but you can see there, Chelsea Boy trying to just get out of the slipstream. As we see in the background there, Shug M, Bravo Wolf, and then the battle for 5th place, AJ to the P and W4, as Chelsea Boy here runs deep into the first hairpin, and Darren Sinclair is going to try and get that better exit, better traction point to try and use along this right-hander up into the uphill right-hander as well. And it looks like it might work as Darren Sinclair tries to go around the outside, thinks better of it. Again, tries to go for that better apex point, but unfortunately Chelsea Boy has parked his car right on the apex there, and Darren Sinclair can do nothing about that. He can't make his way through. But Chelsea Boy here has to open up the gap. He has to do it. There's no other option. Oh, and Chelsea Boy runs slightly wide there, and that's going to encourage Darren Sinclair to just keep pushing. So Darren Sinclair, your championship leader, but if it finishes like this, once again they'll swap positions in the championship. And Spark Bobster has now left the session, so might be connection issues there. As Shug M goes exploring there, comes back onto the track, and Bravo Wolf has actually hit him there. I'm not sure if Shug M just lost it there. Bravo Wolf does seem to have lost a bit of front wing, but does he pit for repairs, or does he just keep battling? It looks like he's going to keep battling, is he? Yes, he is. So Bravo Wolf on the tail of Shug M, and you can see now Shug M just trying to dart his way so that Bravo Wolf can't get the slipstream. But Bravo Wolf looks to be down the inside, will run slightly wide, but that's an optimum point to just turn in there, and Bravo Wolf has 3rd place. It makes the move nice and sweet. And now he could try his own and trying to close in on Darren Sinclair. But is it over as Shug M tries his best? As Bravo Wolf there locks up. Now does this promote Shug M to have a go as he clips the right hand side of the grass there? That's not ideal, but you can see he's doing his best here. He wants this position. He knows he hasn't got any penalties this weekend. He knows that this is outright. This is for a podium, as Bravo Wolf here slightly locking up going into the double right hander. And we'll see now if Shug M can make a move, and Bravo Wolf is locked up there, really under pressure from Shug M, and that's not going to do his tyres any good whatsoever. We can have a look at the telemetry here, and we can see lap 8 to 10 is Shug M's window. Bravo Wolf is the same, so will it be worth Shug M trying to go for that undercut to see whether he can basically have the faster tyre? Meanwhile, Chelsea Boy up the front there is starting to pull away from Darren Sinclair as we stay on board with Shug M, as he will have DRS going into, and Bravo Wolf locked up there, and Shug M snatched on the opportunity, and I'm not sure what happened to Bravo Wolf there. He's into the pits, that's what happened. So very cautious on that pit entry, you don't want to get the drive through, but Bravo Wolf into the pit, so he is the first person in the pit window to visit his garage. Now you can only assume soft tyres go on, and you can only assume as well that Bravo Wolf has one more stop, and that will probably be around lap 20-21 to pit for another set of super softs that will take him to the end of the race. So that's encouraging for Bravo Wolf, but for Shug M, he needs to push now, as AJ to the P has actually managed to jump him. So I'm not sure when that happened, but if that's the case, then that's not good news for Shug M. He needs to concentrate. His rival out on track. Bravo Wolf has pitted in here, so he needs to keep his concentration, and he's not going to do it like that. Loses the back end going into there. This is why I have my ballast forwards, so you don't get those oversteer moments. But all is not lost. He just needs to keep his concentration, but that concentration isn't going to help if W4 has anything to say about it. He's seen those mistakes, and you can see how much pressure Shug M is under. Now he can try and capitalise on those errors and to try and make his way up the field. This is your Bravo Wolf overtaking the North Star there. That is for P10. And as you can see, Bravo Wolf is locking up the tyres there. Maybe put the balance rearwards. That might help with locking up. But you can see now, in comes Shug M into the pits along with AJ to the P and also with W4. So let's see how that the Renault there might be held up. Is that the Renault or is that the Red Bull there? I think it was the Red Bull, but we can see the soft tyres go on and Shug M is away. And where does he rejoin? He rejoins behind W4. No, that's just the pit lane. But you can see there W4's had a much faster pit stop there, as we can see a Toro Rosso getting invisible tyres serviced. But you can see now Shug M and Bravo Wolf has not jumped him. So Bravo Wolf has rejoined behind W4, so that's not worked for him at all. This is your closest battle right now. Yellow flags in Sector 3. We will see who that could be. Not quite sure, but there's a lock up there from Bravo Wolf. And he's just gotten away with that. It does have front wing damage, it looks like, still on that front left side. So he's got to be careful. He has to be very careful. He will have that loss of downforce. Meanwhile, let's have a look at Shug M. And you can see here he's on the super soft once again, so he has to stop again. Simple as that. And he will just use this window to try and extend the gap, just run as hard as he possibly can. Let's have a look at the front runners then. Chelsea Boy has Darren Sinclair on his rear wing here, as they're looking to Darren Sinclair's looking for a way past into the first hairpin, but that's not going to happen. And we'll have a look here, see if Darren Sinclair can do anything about this. He's kept that gap consistent, and that's going to work wonders for him, because it looks like he'll, at the end of the race, go for the 2 super soft stints. Either that, or he's going to go onto the medium tyres. But well, he made the one stop work last time out. Maybe he might make the one stop work again. Only time will tell, of course. So there is Heemkar in third place there, followed by Geordie Davey. So these guys have not stopped yet, but they're using the same tactic as Darren Sinclair to just run as far into the race as possible. Right on board back with the leader of the race, Chelsea Boy. He'll be feeling the pressure as those worn tyres are starting to play a huge effect, a negative effect on his lap times. And Darren Sinclair knows that. He'll take the wider line, better apex line, to try and optimise his DRS use down the back straight. And you can see now Darren Sinclair on the tail. And he's going to go down the inside, is he? And he is, yes. Into the hairpin, but does... Oh, Chelsea Boy takes a slight nick as Chelsea Boy now into the pits. He's on for... he's coming in for his stop now. And what tyres will he put on then? Darren Sinclair takes the lead of the race, but for Chelsea Boy, what tyres are going on? Looks like soft tyres, or are they super softs? They're super softs for Chelsea Boy. No, they've changed to softs, so definitely softs then. So Chelsea Boy now has just to conserve these tyres and see if he can challenge Darren Sinclair towards the end of the race, because they both will be on a super soft stint at the end of the race. But now it will be Darren Sinclair's turn to try and optimise this stint and see if he can make those super softs work. That's perfect positioning from the McLaren boys. They've got Chelsea Boy in front of the Heemkar and Geordie Davey, who haven't stopped yet. So that's very, very nicely done by the McLaren boys to see that gap, get him out there. AJ to the P in 5th place. He is on the soft tyres, but Shug M is on the super soft, so he'll be looking to try and close this gap as quickly as he can. W4 gets a 3-second time penalty. Will be added to the end of his race. There he goes, possibly due to... yeah, possibly due to corner cutting. I have to wait and see. We'll see the race director at some point. Bravo Wolf in 8th place there. Wata Titium in 9th. GN Rocket Queen in 10th place. Heffy in 11th, with the Gort just behind him in 12th. The North Stars in 13th place. And Spark Bobster, who's a ghost around the track right now, in 14th. As we discussed in the last race, only a ghost in this race, because if Spark Bobster does rejoin, that's where he will rejoin straight into that ghost car. But Darren Sinclair, how far will he go into this stint then? Let's have a look at his telemetry. So his pit window was 8 to 10, but that's only on the super soft, so not entirely reliable. But that's all we can go on for now. As we reach we're on the 12th lap of this race, almost at half distance, and you can see here Darren Sinclair hasn't stopped just yet. We'll have a look at Heemkar and Geordie Davey, the battle for 3rd place right now, and Geordie Davey there just going to try and go around the outside of Heemkar, but can he make that work on the left-hander? Not quite. You need a huge amount of grip to do that. And on those soft tyres, you're not going to get that grip. This is your closest battle on track right now. And these guys have not stopped yet. So it'll be interesting to see if they do pit, or sorry, when they do pit, if they pit together. As Heemkar there runs slightly wide. Oh, and that's Geordie Davey just losing that back end very slightly. That's not going to do his tyre wear any good at all. And he's lost that advantage he was gaining there on Heemkar. And Heemkar's off as well now. Heemkar's off onto the grass, so he's lost it as well. And well, I mean, all the tyres seem okay, but yeah, I think Heemkar's tyres have dropped off the cliff there as he's running so wide, and he's almost collected AJ to the P there. As he rejoins the track now, he just needs to keep his concentration. Easy with the throttle as you rejoin, and there he goes. And all that time he's lost now, it's dropped to 8th place. You can see on his steering wheel there, pit. So his team obviously wanting to pit, might have been pitting this lap as well. So that's such a huge shame for Heemkar. Lucky escape for AJ to the P, avoided that car, and you can see, I'm sure he's a very relieved person under that lid there, as Heemkar does indeed come into the pits. to change those tyres. Darren Sinclair, though, still your race leader, but Chelsea Boy is closing in this stint. 21.4, and the gap is falling. Geordie Davey gets himself a 3-second time penalty, as your net third place for now is AJ to the P on those soft tyres. Doing well for his first race, isn't he? Not too bad. If that is indeed his first race, he is a reserve driver, so yeah, not bad for a reserve driver, proving his worth so far. But you can see the dirt on the side pod there means he's been involved in a few battles here. Having a look at Heffy here. He is 2/10 behind Heemkarl, who's just pitted for those medium tyres. So Heemkarl's going to the end, or at least trying to. He's going to try the one stop. Meanwhile, your race leader, Darren Sinclair, into the pits now. And that's very early. Maybe that was the glitch that happens if you hit the limiter, and sometimes it just you can't get out of it again. And it slows you right down, unless that was Darren Sinclair being very, very careful. There is Sauber Team R, ready to box him in, and on go some super soft tyres. Or no! So, Darren Sinclair is going to go out and try the one stop again. Onto the medium tyres he goes. Chelsea Boy overtakes, and Darren Sinclair should rejoin in second place, and he does. Geordie Davey into the pits there, and AJ to the P now moves up into third, Shug M into fourth, and this will be critical now for Chelsea Boy. Again, Darren Sinclair is going for the one stop, and Chelsea Boy finds himself on a two stop. So exactly the same last time out. Chelsea Boy has to push, he has to push, otherwise he's not going to make those tyres last. He just needs to take the life out of them now and just try and build the gap to Darren Sinclair, which is easier said than done, especially with the championship leader on your tail. But it's not impossible, but it will be difficult. Heavy here, trying to challenge Heemkarl. Heemkarl trying to go to the end of the race on those medium tyres. Heffy has to stop again, and having a bit of trouble trying to get around the Renault there. Heemkarl putting up a fight, but I wonder for how much longer as Heffy gets into the slipstream. Goes down the inside. Can he make the move? No, he can't, as Heemkarl defends his line. The Gort here in 12th place. Now, I'm thinking the Gort is going to have to stop again, and he probably will put on the super soft tyres so that he can make it to the end. Heffy does get past Heemkarl, but runs wide, and Heemkarl's going to be down that outside once again, but not quite, as Heffy hangs on, and he's up into 10th place now. Bravo Wolf trying to chase down W4. Both on the same tyres, but both quite quick at the moment. As you can see, Darren Sinclair, the gap is 4.6, and it's just shortening every timing loop. It's just getting less and less. The thing about 50% races are that if you are planning to do a 2 or 3 stop, you have to take into effect that the tyres don't last as long as they do in a 100% race, and it's very difficult to get those tyres working for you. Sometimes less stops in a 50% race are just better. That's how it goes sometimes. As we look at Heffy here and Heemkarl, sorry, I picked the wrong driver here, but Heemkarl, we'll ride on board with him, why not? As the Gort's behind on the same tyres, and the Gort here will be looking to try and recover after that first lap incident. Not quite sure what happened, but Jensen and him were off the track on lap 1 in the double right-hander, so that's to be that may be investigated, as it's mandatory for all drivers to be recording this race. They do that through their share button on the PS4, so if there are any quarrels, then the footage is sent to the race directors, and they will advise. But the Gort here is on the tail of Heemkarl, and as you can see, Heemkarl just holding his own for now. So your 2 retirements, Jensen looks like he lost it, but can't be too sure, and went into the barriers a few laps in, and Invader Zippo battling with Bravo Wolf and I believe it was W4, trying to go 3 wide through that right-hander, double right-hander, and it just doesn't work. Got hit slightly and found himself into the wall. Meanwhile, Geordie Davey is the fastest person out on track there in 8th place. He's on the super soft tyres. He's going to go for another super softs, I do believe. But he is the fastest man out there as he's closing in on Watatitium. Let's have a look for your closest battle out on track. This is up there as well as that, but it's the Gort as well, who is trying to get past Heemkar. We're going to ride back on board with Geordie Davey as he's there trying to attack Watatitium. Has a think about it, but backs out of it, trying to focus on his apex as Hill's now on the tail. Meanwhile, up at the front, just so you know, Chelsea Boy and Darren Sinclair, the gap is stabilising at around 4.6 to 4.8 seconds. So this is ideal for Darren Sinclair. It's perfect for him. But Chelsea Boy needs to find that little bit more, that little bit extra. There's Geordie Davey now on the tail of Watatitium. He's going to try and look down the inside into the final hairpin with that DRS open. And can he make the move stick? Yes, he can. And he will have a DRS once again. And that is 7th place for Geordie Davey. Nicely done. Next target for him is Bravo Wolf, who's in a little battle of his own as they enter the first and second hairpins. That is Spark Bobster, the ghost of, trundling around the track. But Bravo Wolf is trying to chase down W4, so this is a battle that's been raging on for quite a while now, as the gap at the front is 4.4 now between Chelsea Boy and Darren Sinclair, with Chelsea Boy having to stop again. Maybe he's just conserving his engine and conserving his fuel as W4 runs wide there and allows Bravo Wolf to just easily take that position, and W4 won't be happy with himself for that. And now W4 is trying to go down the inside of Bravo Wolf through the double right-hander, and that's a very, very risky place to try and make that move stick. And they're still side by side, and Bravo Wolf locks up, and W4 takes that position back. Battle between these two is far from over as W4 looks to try and get a high points finish. Meanwhile, Bravo Wolf 4th in the championship. He'll be wanting to try and get through. Shug M there in 4th place. Dives straight into the pits as soon as I ride on board with him. Oh, keep it out of the wall, Shug M. Keep it out of the wall. Just came in too hot and found himself into the wall. Hopefully he doesn't have any front wing damage. But this will be his final stop, I do believe. He'll be putting on the soft tyres and he'll be going to the end of the race. On they go, and away he goes. And where will he rejoin? He might rejoin behind Watatitium, and does. We'll see if he rejoins behind anybody else. His camera angle's not so great at looking at that, but he rejoins in 8th place there, but he'll go to the end. Meanwhile, at the front, Geordie Davey has managed to find himself with W4 as he overtakes, and Geordie Davey there up into P4. Meanwhile, look at this battle through the left and right fast chicane as it's trying to be 3 wide through the double right-hander again. And contact made once again as Bravo Wolf hits the side of W4, and Watatitium strikes the back of Bravo Wolf, and I think Watatitium there has got a significant amount of front wing damage. I wouldn't be surprised if he has to pit in because of that. Getting a little hairy here. As a Watatitium, you can already see the lack of downforce he's got, so that looks to be a pit stop that's going to cost him. Very, very hairy between those three, and one of them's come off worse again. So again, battling between W4 and Bravo Wolf has cost another driver. Not even those two. Another driver's been involved in them. And, well, these two are going to have to calm it down. That's all I can say. Just calm it down, fellas. As Watatitium, you can see there, dives into the pits to get that front wing changed. So unfortunate for him, looking good in that Ferrari, but Sometimes when your luck's out, your luck is just out. On goes some super soft tyres, and on goes another front wing. So painful to be sitting in the pit box like that when you're waiting for that front wing to be changed. And for another Ferrari driver is in as well, Spark Bobster, the ghost of, as well, he had to serve some sort of penalty there, but away he goes. Meanwhile, at this front, let's have a look. Chelsea boy still leading the race, but well, I have a feeling he's going to pit in. He has to pit it. He can't make it to the end on those soft tyres. But what will he do? Will he pit in? No, he stays out for another lap. With Darren Sinclair behind 4.2. But you get this feeling that Chelsea boy might not be able to run those tyres for much longer. 9 laps to go in this race. And your closest battle is Heffy here. He's 1.9 behind GN Rocket Queen. As we have a little bit of a lag spike. That's all for me, unfortunately. Nothing to do with the drivers. As Heffy loses the back end very slightly there. That's going to cost him a little bit of time, a little bit of tyre wear as well. It's Heem Carl in 10th place right now. Shug M now sets the fastest lap of the race, 1:35.1. AJ to the P. Let's wait for him to come into shot. There he is. Good race so far. Third place right now. And, well, he's had a really, really good race. He is only a reserve driver in this championship. So he'll be looking to score some really good points. And, of course, take third place. Can he hold on to it to the end of the race? Geordie Davey, well, he may have run slightly wide there and may have to pit again, but oh, he's run wide. He has run wide. And that could be the tyre wear again. W4 gets himself another 3-second time penalty. I think what needs to be improved about W4 is he just keeps his discipline out there on track with the corner limits. He's losing some really, really good positions by giving himself, 20 seconds of penalties. So that's something to improve on. He needs to do that if he wants to really get some good results in this series. Otherwise, he's going to find himself towards the end of the points, maybe even out of them. As Chelsea boy pits in once again for super soft tyres. So it's medium versus super soft. You get in deja vu, the softest tyre possible versus the hardest tyre possible. I'm certainly getting deja vu. But what is the damage? 19.3. Now, is that doable for Chelsea boy with 8 laps to go? It means he has to be 2 seconds a lap faster at least. Well, we're going to find out. As W4 is overtaking Geordie Davey, who's come into the pits. On go another set of super softs, and away he goes. AJ to the P, right behind W4. And on these fresh tyres, you'd think AJ to the P has a chance of just breezing past W4, but nothing's ever guaranteed in Formula 1, that's for sure. Shug M there in 5th place has made his last stop, losing the back end slightly there. We'll be hoping to try and get past W4, maybe see what he can do about AJ to the P. Speaking of which, right on his tail, Chelsea boy is reducing that gap, but again, it's not as easy as it looks. As Heffy comes in for his final stop of the race and puts on a set of soft tyres. As AJ to the P trying to go round the outside of W4. W4 has the optimum line, at least going into the corner, but coming out he's got to have no grip, and that's a very easy move for AJ to the P. He finds himself back onto the top, back on the podium, and a very, very mature decision there, just to let W4 take that compromise line and allow him to take that position with minimal tyre wear lost. So that's a very, very well rehearsed move there. It's always good when you get a move like that done. And AJ to the P up into 3rd place. Geordie Davey comes into the pits. And that's the wrong person I wanted there. Shug M, that's the person I wanted. In 4th place now. Making his way through. And let's see what he can do about AJ to the P. He's on soft tyres, and AJ to the P has the optimum super soft tyres to just try and gallop away, but nothing's guaranteed. Heimkarl here in 7th place on those medium tyres. W4 comes into the pits to pop on some super soft tyres. There he is at the pit exit, and he's behind Heimkarl, who is on the medium tyres. That's a lovely camera angle. I love that. That is amazing. I wish there was some way in this game that you could actually control which camera it uses, because that is a very, very nice very nice camera shot. As Shug M there gets a 3-second time penalty that'll be added to the end of his race. Well, the Gort, what can we say about him and Heffy? Far from ideal races for the both of them, but they're making the best of what they can right now as the Gort closes in on Heffy, who are both closing in on Gia and Rocket Queen. That is the last points position, and they've got to just keep their cool. Chelsea Boy there setting the fastest lap of the race, 1:35.0. And the Gort there in 3rd place in the championship. I might have jinxed him there. I'm very sorry about that, but you know, he's just got to keep his mind on the game, because he's got a chance to just score a point here, and sometimes a point is the difference between finishing 3rd and finishing 5th. Sometimes it has happened before, that's for sure. The championship has been lost on 1 point. 3rd place in the championship has also been lost on 1 point. So every point matters, especially when you have a bad race like this one, through no fault of your own. It's just one of those things. You do have bad races, and it's how you recover from them. That's the main point. As the Gort finding it very tricky to get past Heffy, but in the DRS zone, McLaren here actually does have power because of equal cars. It is saying for the Gort to pit in though. So will he pit in? He doesn't. So that could be just a glitch on the steering wheel. But the Gort here just doing his best to try and get past GM Rocket Wing, keeping out of the slipstream of Heffy, who's also trying to keep out of the slipstream of the Gort as they head into that first turn. And Heffy right on Rocket Queen's tail there. 5 laps to go in this race, and it's looking like Darren Sinclair once again could make him one-stop work. Chelsea Boy has anything to say about it, but right now this is the battle for the last point in this race, and both Heffy and the Gort are up for it. They both want that point. They both need that point after this race, but Rocket Queen is going to do all they can to try and hold on to 10th place. The Gort having a look up the inside of Heffy, thinks better of it and tries to use that little bit of curb there to try and boost him. And the Gort there trying to have a look, may have run deep, and Heffy there trying to find a way past Rocket Queen. As now of all times we experience lag when it's getting exciting, but they all keep their noses clean, and yeah, they're all keeping their noses clean. So this is good battling, but the longer W4 there sets the fastest lap of the race, but the longer these guys battle, the more frustrating it gets, especially when you're coming into the latter part of the race. The Gort here just trying to find a way past. We've got yellow flags in Sector 2. Not quite sure who that could be. We have a look here. The Gort again. Look at this. It's three of them for the final point of the race, and they all want it. They all need it as well, and that makes it much more sweeter. Whoever gets that last point in the championship. Heffy, has he found a way past at last? Telemetry says yes, and yes he has. So now that's pressure on the Gort. He now has to try and find a way past as quickly as possible, otherwise he's going to let Heffy get away. As they come through this left right-hander fast chicane, which is what it pretty much is, as the Gort here now trying to find a way past, thinks about a move into the double right-hander, thinks better of it. And we'll now find here as he's going to try a move into the left-hander, hairpin, and has Rocket Queen, may have compromised their apex there, but as you can see, the Gort loses the back end very slightly, and that costs him a lot of time. This is where it gets frustrating as Heffy. He can see him getting away. He needs to try and find a way past. It's not as easy as it looks, especially at a track like this, where the only real overtaking opportunities are the hairpins. But we come on to this second DRS straight now. As we see Shug M come into the pits. Not quite sure. I thought that it was his last stop, but he's had to change front wing. So he may have got caught up somewhere. He did seem on his own out there. He was expecting a good result this weekend, but this is a prime opportunity for the Gort here, who now, without even knowing, has turned this battle into 9th place now. But Shug M will be along shortly if the Gort can't get past. Only 3 laps to go. And the Gort needs to try and find a way past. Shug M finds himself all the way down the table. Geordie Davey now has a 3-second time penalty. Be interesting to see what the final results are of these because of the many penalties. But you can see there, Rocket Queen just loses it slightly on that corner there and has just gifted the place to the Gort. The Gort now there in 10th place. Does Rocket Queen have a reply? No. Doesn't decide to go for the move, and now the Gort can try and chase down what's now 8th place in Watatitium. Sorry, 9th place in Heffy, sorry. My mistake there, reading the graphic wrong. But what can Shug M do now? He's on new tyres, very new tyres, and he's looking to try and make some sort of move on Rocket Queen. Coming onto the DRS straight now, and the Gort there trying now to get away. But here comes Shug M round the outside into that final hairpin. He's got that better apex. He's got that better traction. Shug M should have that move now, and does. That's a great pressuring there from Shug M, just to put that pressure on Rocket Queen. It's not over yet though. Rocket Queen looks at it, tries to have a look, but no dice. And now Shug M putting pressure on the Gort. Let's have a look where Darren Sinclair is. He's not far away to lapping those guys, so well, they might have less time than they think, as Darren Sinclair is dominating this race once again. And I've missed the overtake. Typical. I've missed the overtake with Shug M. Is it over yet though? No, as Rocket Queen finds a way back past. But these guys fighting, they may give themselves one less lap as Shug M tries to force his way down the inside and makes it. What a move that was. Bravery there. Has nothing to lose, and now he's got to try and chase down. It's not over yet though, because Rocket Queen is coming down the outside now. As we head into the left-hander, Shug M tries to take as much curb as possible. That's going to hurt his apex, as now they head through to the right-handers. And I think Shug M has that move done. Rocket Queen, though, is still there. Very, very close between the two of them. This is the battle for 11th place, remember. But every position matters, especially when you're fighting this hard for it. Shug M having to try and just hold off Rocket Queen whilst trying to close down on the Gort as they head into the last hairpin here. And they are going to have one more lap. It looked like they might not have it, but they do. So they've got to make use of it now. Meanwhile, Darren Sinclair starts the final lap of the race. He's made a one-stop work so far, and if his tyres can hold on for one more lap, he'll have once again pulled off that one-stop. Chelsea Boy in 2nd place, and it looks like he's going to fall further behind in the championship, not by a long shot. And you still have a couple of races where skill is required. Japan, I'm thinking of. USA as well is always a hectic one. Brazil and Abu Dhabi. So it is not over yet, not by a long shot with those races in the mix. There is one other race I'm missing off, but answers on a postcard. I think I got that right. Yeah, there are 5 races to go, and I can't remember the other race, which is terrible of me. But Darren Sinclair has proven once again that he is a title contender. Let's have a look at AJ to the P. Not bad for a reserve driver. 3rd place so far. And Geordie Davey has pulled everything out of the bag here for the Mercedes crew. He's currently in 4th place. W4 with his penalties. We'll have to see. Bravo Wolf as well. Has had his difficulties this race. Heimkarl looked like early on that he would be out of the running, but still there in 7th. You will have pressure from Watatitium as we come to the end of the race. Lots of drivers here having bad days, but one driver who didn't have a bad day at all, went perfectly well for him, as Darren Sinclair takes the win here in Malaysia and extends that lead in the championship. And now the glitch works where now you can actually switch players after the checkered flag. Chelsea Boy here will take 2nd place in this race. Great drive by him, but again Darren Sinclair just making that one-stop work very well indeed. I think Chelsea Boy will be happy with 2nd place today. I'll tell you who will be happy, AJ to the P. He's done a fantastic job today. Just kept his head. That's all you need to do sometimes to have a good race, and around the final hairpin he goes. And he will take the last step of the podium. AJ to the P for Red Bull takes that final podium spot. Geordie Davey here in 4th place. As we're going to have a look at Watatitium. Well, very off track there. I'm not sure I can broadcast any more of that corner cutting. But here comes W4 here. Geordie Davey takes 4th place. W4 takes 5th place, but we'll have to wait for his penalties to take effect if Bravo Wolf can do anything about that. And he can't. He finishes 0.06 of a second behind W4 after penalties. Heimkarl will take 7th place. Watatitium takes 8th place. Heffy here and the Gort have put in commendable performances today, and they will take the final points of the race today. Heffy in 9th, the Gort in 10th, and Shug M in the background there takes 11th place. For GN Rocket Queen, it looks so good, running in 9th place at one point. Unfortunately though, not today, as they finish in 12th place. But your winner today is Darren Sinclair. So here they come onto the podium. Darren Sinclair extends his lead in the championship, with Chelsea Boy there finishing in 2nd and AJ to the P finishing in 3rd. So in this short time, I've got to try and pick a driver of the day. And looking at the grid, Geordie Davey from 12th place on the grid to manage to get it back into 4th place. Geordie Davey is my driver of the day. But as we see here, Darren Sinclair takes the win. Chelsea Boy in 2nd, AJ to the P in 3rd, Geordie Davey 4th, W4 in 5th, Bravo Wolf 6th, Heimkarl 7th, Watatitium in 8th, Heffy in 9th, the Gort takes that final point in 10th place, Shug M in 11th, Rocket Queen 12th, North Star 13th, and you can see there the retirements of Invader Zippo, and I believe, I can't remember who was in the Toro Rosso, Jensen, it was Jensen, so those were the only two retirements of the race, but that was round 15 of SNR, and we leave Malaysia now. A very, very interesting race indeed. And again, Darren Sinclair making that one-stop work to perfection. And what else can I say other than, like I said, my driver of the day is Geordie Davey from 12th place on the grid to get it onto 4th. That's a brilliant result for him.
Caution. What happened? Let me know you're okay.
So, we hope you can join us for round 16 in Japan. The question everyone has to ask is, can Chelsea boy stop Darren Sinclair? Until Japan though, I've been Kieran McGinley, you've been watching, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.